excuse me, adjusting from college to the pro level. Obviously, there's the on the field, the physical adjustment, but how maybe undervalued, understated is the off the field, the meeting room, the film study, the extra work you have to do in that area than what you had to do in college as part of the transition.
Yeah, I kind of just feel like, it's the little fine details that, separate yourself. So I feel like preparation is, a big thing going into games, especially like game plans and, what we're going to be doing against this team or that team. But I'd say probably, it's a different level of preparation for sure.
48 hours before the game, does it feel any different than it did before your first college game or first high school game?
I mean, it feels the same. You have the anticipation of like the excitement, like butterflies. What it's gonna look like. But yeah, just another. I'm just like feeling like another kid ready to go out for the first game of the season. So just really excited to go out there with. Preseason we played some games, but not everyone was out there all at the same time. So glad to see how we go out there and execute.
Lisa, we talked to you about Malik and how you went and worked out with him. You've kind of built that relationship with him. How important is that with the guy you're next to, and how important has that been for you early in your career?
Yeah, I feel like it's really important. Malik was the guy I knew coming in. Even before he signed with the Browns, I liked a lot of his game, and we had worked with the same trainer, so I'd always had an eye on his game. But when I got drafted and then found out that he got signed here, I was just excited, and then he has a lot of experience, and then I'd just say the biggest thing was the chemistry. That's why I wanted to train with him over the summer because I knew we were going to be out there on the field together.
What was it that you liked? What was it that you liked about his game?
I just like the way he plays. He's not one-dimensional. He's twitchy, and he's also a big guy, so he's kind of deceiving to a lot of people.
Process from college season ends, you train for the draft, you get drafted, rookie minicamp, all that. It's pretty much it's a whirlwind for rookies, obviously. But as you sit here 2 days out from just kind of play your first game and that's all behind you. Just how do you think you've already grown as a player from the time you played your last snap in college to now getting ready to play in the NFL?
I feel like I've grown a lot. I've changed my body a lot. Taking my preparation more serious. I just feel like that's what you have to do going into the NFL as a rookie. All these other guys have way more experience. You're going into a new scheme for me, and just a new way of playing football, I guess. So just getting those things down and trying to execute.
And can you just talk about the synergy between you and Miles? There's now a lot of talk. Jim Schwartz talked a lot about it yesterday, about how much it's going to help him to have you wreaking havoc on the inside and vice versa.
Yeah, I feel like we have, obviously he gets a lot of attention. Everyone has their own game plan against, how they're going to block Miles or what they're going to do to Miles. So, we'll see what Cincinnati does. But I feel like we just have a great group up front that works well together. And I feel like we've been growing and growing throughout training camp. And I feel like, we're kind of meshed really good. So it'll be exciting to see, like I said earlier, everyone being on the field at the same time and then seeing it come full circle.
You guys are the engine of the defense. Is that a word he uses with you guys in the meeting room too?
Yeah, that's one of the words to describe how we run, like running to the ball. That's what he uses, the engine. He wants the D-line to be the engine of the team, set the tone for running to the ball because, the hardest thing to do is, strain against another O-lineman and then run to the ball right after. So if we're doing it, then everyone else is going to do it, and it's just going to feel like we have 14 guys playing on the field.
Getting off on the snap is obviously always critical, but when a guy like Joe gets rid of the ball so quickly, how much extra importance is on it this game because of every split second counts with him.
Yeah, just like you said, every split second counts. Whatever you can take, however the faster you can get off the ball, the more time you have to get to quarterback. But yeah, he does do a really good job of getting the ball out. Finding access throws and just being a really good quarterback, really. So yeah, we just got to keep relentless rush and just keep on rushing every play, no matter how fast the ball or how long he holds the ball for.
Do you know who will be opposing most of the time on the interior of their line, or will you move around a little bit, or how do you think
Oh yeah, we'll all move around, you know, just on the game, you know. Me and Malik might be like, oh, we'll switch real quick, or we'll just do whatever, honestly, how we're feeling. But I mean, we're gonna go against all those guys, so.
Did you face Dylan George in the playoff game a couple of years ago?
I wasn't there at the time.
Jim raved about just the potential of you guys as a group up front. You know, it feels like you guys are able to kind of get to that attacking style he wants to play and all that, but you got to go out and prove it now on Sundays. But as a group yourselves, just as teammates, do you guys feel that you're like that you can be that good, that the potential's there with the guys that you have to be this dominant piece of this team?
Yeah, we always talk about in the meeting room, you know, we want to be the most dominant D-line in the NFL and definitely in the conference. I mean, in coming with that, you know, creates good defense. You know, our team's going to be good. Creating negative plays, sacks. You know, we all want, you know, the stats, but it's not always about that. Just playing good football, really.
How about just, can we talk about Joe Burrow a little bit? And, you know, you guys obviously are going to attack him from all aspects of your front, but what makes Joe so good, and how much are you looking forward to going up against him?
I mean, he's had a lot of experience. You know, he's played in some big time games. He's really good at reading, you know, what he's seeing and, you know, taking what he sees. Analyzes stuff really quick. Trust his receivers to get the ball to them, no matter if they're covered up or, you know, wherever. And maybe he's going to throw up the 50-50 ball every time. So I just feel like he has a lot of trust in his players, and that's kind of something that they, you know, thrive on.
When you talk about kind of guys lining up all over the place, I mean, Jim Schwartz, guys in that locker room have called him a mad scientist. Is that a good description of him in your short time here?
Yeah, for sure. He's very, you know, critical on, you know, how we prepare and how we go about things. So I feel like that's a really good word to describe him.